Raise your hand if you don't want big biceps. No one. The primary message behind my channel is that even if you have significant limitations, injuries, genetic weaknesses, we all have something. If you instead focus all of your energy and effort onto what you can do and then just keep improving, you can get way further than you would have expected. And in my case, I have the injuries and limitations where I can only train arms for my upper body. And really, I can only do overhead tricep extensions and some form of standing bicep curls, basically just 2 exercises. But because I've put as much energy and intensity into my workouts as I've humanly possibly can, and I continuously apply the mindset of this might be the last session, so I'm going to go in there and leave absolutely everything on the table. I'm never going to just check a box. If you guys adopt that same mentality, regardless of what your limitation is, a weak genetic body part, a slow metabolism where you're holding on to more fat, not as good genetics for building muscle, whatever it is, if you focus on what can I do? All right, let me do that and let me put and channel as much energy into that. To me, that's going to disproportionately produce more growth for you than anything else, where my whole upper body has grown fairly substantially. It's nothing crazy. I don't think I have the most awesome physique in the world, but the fact that I can only train arms and my whole upper body has developed to a decent degree is evidence and proof of the value of that mindset, where you have the urgency, where you go to the gym every time in attack mode. And you're not distracted by other stuff. When I go in there, I'm friendly to people when I'm warming up. I do my hour of mobility. I'm a friendly guy. I like meeting people at the gym. I'm chatting. But then when it's time to train, I go through my warm-up sets. Do not talk to me. I don't talk to anybody. I have my headphones in, and I'm locked in, trying to carve out an additional 1% of increased intensity in every session. And those things start to compound. And I think that's what is missing in 99% of people's approach. And anybody can do it. You can do it. There's nothing holding you back. It doesn't matter what your limit. Look how limited I am. I can still find some shit that I can do and then apply that mentality. For my specific arm courses, the link is always in the description. I got video-based lessons where I walk you through. It's not just a PDF. There's 3 different structured courses: the Fuck Sleeves Arm Program, the How to Build Massive Arms Program, the Armzilla Arm Program. And now, over the past couple months, I've been uploading every single one of my arm sessions full tilt into that area and build up my physique to a substantial level. So there's nothing holding you back. There's no reason you couldn't do the same thing. It's just difficult and challenging to do. And I know a lot of my content recently has been talking about other people's videos and the science stuff that I think is misleading. And I don't mean for it to be negative, but I just think it's such a good opportunity to me to point out so much stuff that gets promoted that distracts you from focusing just on this simple process of what can I do, always show up and do that shit, and then find a way to push harder and harder with that stuff that I'm doing and expand my thought process and what I'm willing to do and experiment within that to continue to evolve it, to train harder than last time. Shout out to Greg Doucette. I think that's an amazing phrase that sums it up simply. Every workout should be harder than last time. You should never check a box. What does harder look like? Either more intensity, more volume, a different tempo, different rest times, different frequency. You're always upping the ante on yourself somehow, and you just keep pouring into what you can do, and you don't get distracted with other shit and focused on what you can't do and leaning into that negative mindset. You just keep going, and you keep doing that over and over again, and you can produce a result that will amaze yourself. And at the end of the day, it should be what makes you feel gratitude and pride. And when I look at my physique, I feel proud and I have a lot of gratefulness for what I've developed. And I amaze myself. And I mean that in like a humble way. It doesn't mean you can't be proud of yourself and still be humble. I look at that and I'm like, holy shit, like injuries and limitations had me down where I basically walked away from working out. I gave up on it. And I'm trying to find solutions and going to doctors and nobody can seem to solve the problem for me. And I just decided to start doing what I can. And I found overhead tricep extensions I could do without exacerbating the issues and getting the nerve problems and the tingling up into my neck and face. And that was like 4 or 5 years ago. And I was just doing bodyweight skull crushers, super simple. And I just kept showing up and kept escalating it over and over and over and over and over and over. And now we're at this point here where my process with it has become so honed and intense, and like I love the challenge of it, that I get to go in there and like test myself to see if I can handle an even more brutal workout than the last time, see how much pain I can tolerate. And I'm rambling in circles, but I just think anybody who's interested and drawn to working out and training for muscle gain, you need to invest in this process, and not enough people are promoting it and talking about it. And it doesn't matter what your circumstance is. You don't have to have elite level genetics. You don't have to look like C-bum. You don't have to have perfect structure. If I can do it just training a couple arm exercises and lunges for legs, then there's no reason that you can't overcome your same limitations as well. So I want to continue to promote that. And I think there's so much information out there that distracts you from developing that process that improves you physically and mentally, forcing you to evolve your external strengths in your body and your internal strengths in your mind. To me, there's almost no more rewarding process to invest yourself into. So I'm going to continue to promote that. And I do think a constructive way to do that is to point out other messages and other content that are neglecting it, just to give it more context and maybe get more exposure for it. So let's get into this video here. We've got Mr. Alex Eubanks training with the man himself, Jeff Nippard.
Are you like recommending that people do what you did? Like, are you suggesting that people do it?
No, that's what I'm like. I think everyone should get like their blood work done and make sure that like, because even when I was natural, every single time, every 6 months, natural, I would get everything checked.
You have one of two options. You could either be honest about it and let people know, or you could try to hide it and pretend that you were natty. You were honest about it. Like given that that's the decision you made, that's the right thing.
So I think Alex's take on his not natural status, I think it's great that he's actually being honest. I think it's representative of a shift in the fitness community where people are more educated and aware than ever before. So you can't really pull a fast one on most people and just be taking absolute massive amounts of gear and say that you just doubled your creatine or you're eating beef and cheese. More beef and cheese. That's what, people are onto it. So I give him credit for that. My one critique would be that I believe initially he was kind of promoting it as if it was a health improvement choice. And I don't think that's the case. 24-year-old guy, 200 milligrams a test is pretty high for TRT. You're doing it to get juicy probably, which is fine. Just acknowledge that. But overall, I give him credit for being honest and being transparent about it, because not many people are.
What do you think has been your biggest piece of like advice for success for that long of a term? Because usually the life of a social media influencer is like what, like two years we talked about? What do you think has kept you going so long?
I think it's just value, bro. Like, yeah. I think I'm in the education niche, and like people always want to learn more.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So you have to offer people something.
It's a tough angle to take, to oppose the promotion of knowledge. It makes you seem like a fucking meathead idiot to be like, dude, you just stop trying to learn more. But I genuinely believe with working out that it depends what you're trying to learn. If you're trying to like continue to find more refined techniques and approaches for training through, scientific methods, that you're potentially investing energy into something that's not going to give you as significant of a payout as it would to develop the process within yourself of shifting your habits and your approach to each session so that you actually show up with the freaking aggression and drive to stimulate more muscle growth. As I said in previous videos, I don't think training for muscle growth is that complex. And so I think it is a bit of a misplaced hyper-analytical lens onto training. It's like come on, boys. What are we doing? What kind of an arm day is this? It's hard to watch, man. Like, okay, I get it that, maybe we're just trying to make content and we're just going to catch a little arm pump, be chill, and chat about shit. But these are experienced lifters. Fellas, you've been at the game for years and years and years. I don't get how you can get by with even doing a work. I couldn't even force myself to do a workout like this. And I think if you're serious about muscle growth and you're like a beacon of authority or inspiration within the space, this is wild that you think it's appropriate to showcase this as a training method, to, be stopping in the middle of your set to talk, to have enough breath, to just have a conversation mid fucking set, stop your set and just look over and have a little chat with your buddy and then squeeze out a few more reps and then stop. Like, this is not training. This is like you're a casual lifter and you just want to go to the gym to improve your health and gain a little bit of muscle. This is the mentality and mindset here. And I would just expect more out of these dudes, as like, we want to talk so much about information and knowledge and teaching people how to train smart, but then we're going to go and show our workouts, our raw workouts, looking like this. Like, you guys have like the biggest platforms to promote something, and you're showing people that this is how I train, which is like so fucking casual. And like, I don't get it. Like, I don't see how you can make any progress doing that. Every time that I've even had a little bit of a scaled back workout and I slow down, I don't give it absolutely everything I have and push myself to the brink of insanity, barely holding onto my grip of reality, pushing my freaking curls to the limit. If I don't do that, I don't see any more growth. And that's just the nature of the beast as you get more advanced. I don't see how you can have this casual of an approach and still see growth. And I think that it's just like, what kind of a set is that? What are you doing? Like, I can't, if somebody interrupted me mid-set, I would be furious. I'm a nice guy. Like, I wouldn't show it, but I'd be like, every inch matters when you go in there. If you're serious about training for muscle growth and you're, an educator or a influence on the lifting community, like, you could provide so much more value by just showing like, this is how you should train, and pushing yourself to the max and being laser focused and giving little tips here and little technique, things that work for you, but lead by example. To me, it's like the biggest contradiction of all time, to talk about all these ways to train, and then this is how you push your freaking bicep sets. Like, I mean, who doesn't want to have big peaks? Raise your hand if you don't want big biceps. No one who's watching this content and interested in lifting. This is just like wild to me that, just holding on to the dumbbells talking. Maybe this is some lengthened based scientific method. You just hold the dumbbells in that vertical stretch position for 30 to 60 seconds, a pre-exhaust method. And then you jump into the set while maintaining a conversation with your buddy. Oh. I mean, his pipes look big. He's got gigantic triceps. Got to give him that. We take a break mid-set. Oh. Put the weight down to talk. Oh. And just take a 30-second break in the middle of your set. Oh, back to it. Okay. Oh, going down to partials. A couple little partials. Okay. A decent amount of intensity at the end there, but that is just, if you look at one of my sets here in comparison, like, you could do this. Anybody could do this. This is what I'm encouraging you guys to do. To be laser focused and go, all right, I'm going to push myself to the brink. Warm up properly. Use as good a form as I can. Practice the movements first. And then unload your aggression and intensity into that set, it's going to pay the most massive proportionate dividends in terms of your muscle gain compared to anything else. Show up all the time and then develop this type of approach. And I just think it's crazy to train like this as leaders in the fitness space. I could not hold a conversation while doing a set. If you can hold a conversation while doing a set of curls, you are not training hard enough, not even close. You should be so focused and so the physical demand on your whole body pushing that set to the limit. There's no way you can hold a conversation if you're actually training that hard. So that's a great indicator. If you have a training buddy, you guys chat in between your sets, but when it's time to do a set, do not say anything. Do not distract each other. That's the difference. If you want to get substantially muscular, that is the difference, in my opinion. I don't really see how, and like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Both of these guys have amazing physiques. So it's kind of like, how can you criticize? But I'm just like, in my personal experience, I saw developing this like training intensity and aggression to be so beneficial in producing more growth. So I can't help but look at this and be like, what? Your biceps have so much more growth that they could achieve if you actually tapped in and tried to push your limits. Hey man, if you're looking to get some absolutely massive frickin' pipe daddies, some gigantic arms this year, do the ARM program. It is the #1 resource for growing your pipes on the internet.
Have you competed?
No.
Do you want to?
I've had a few times in my life where I was like, I want to do it. It's just, I always tell people no because like I would like to, but when I'm able to dedicate 100% of my time to it, I have so much respect for professional bodybuilders because you generally have to give 100% of like everything to it. My brands are like and making good content, and I'm not ready yet to sacrifice that.
I think you should do it.
You think?
I think you should commit to it. I think it'd be good. I think people would want to follow it.
Yeah, I'd really have to be super focused.
You have the chest and the shoulders. What do you think would hold you back from men's physique?
I feel like I don't know. Maybe I just don't know how to pose.
That could be it, bro.
I mean, I feel like it's constructive debate, but I would have a good conversation with Jeff if we hung out in person. He's interested in ideas and improvement, which I'm the same way. I don't want to talk about bullshit that you did or something that somebody said to you. It's not interesting. If I'm getting to know you, I want to know what you're interested in, and I want to find ways to make that a way that we can expand on that, because that's how I'm thinking about myself too. And this is part of one of the reasons that Jeff is a successful dude.
Because I think you're already quite lean, like very lean, and I think, how many calories do you eat a day, roughly?
I just started tracking
since the topic. That your metabolism is really high.
Yeah.
And you're already lean. So that means if you, let's just say you're eating 3,500 calories a day, you would lose weight eating 3,000, 2,800.
As you can tell, he focuses on positives. He keeps moving. He doesn't get sucked into negative BS stuff and slow himself down. And he's looking at the positives, and he's interested in life. He's interested in science and training, and he's just expanding on that. And I think it's a really rare but amazing thing to look at somebody else that's successful and then try to find ways to promote them to get more successful. In this case, he's saying you should do a physique competition, dude. Look at your build.
You look great, bro. See, like, you're still like super lean. I feel like, how many weeks do you think you would need to be stage lean? I think if you dieted in a smart way, like not a crash diet, for 12 to 16 weeks, you could get on stage no problem. And I don't think it would be as hard as you think it is in your mind. Because, and the reason I say that is you're already very lean. Like, people get on stage being this lean.
Look at your shoulder to waist ratio and your body leanness, your body composition, the amount of muscle mass you have. You're already pretty lean. You've got a great build to do a show. You're making fitness content. Your followers would probably love it. It'd be great for your content. It'd be great for you as a whole to do this as a new challenge, a new chapter to test yourself, man, you should get into that instead of focusing on talking about yourself the whole time, which most people do. Invest if you really want to be somebody that people value and like to have around. They don't want to just hear you talk about how good you are and how successful you are. And Jeff is incredibly successful in the fitness content space. He could go on and on about his content, his videos, his businesses, his shows. Instead, he's interested in Alex. And he's like, dude, look at what potential you have to expand upon this.
I'm not going to peer pressure you. I just think it'd be cool.
It would be a good series.
It would also, I think, give you it would give your audience a journey to follow, and it would give you, I think, credibility, because it's like, hey, he's walking the walk in a competitive way. You gotta own it though. You can't just be like, Jeff told me to do it. That's not a good enough reason.
I have to. That's what I'm saying. I have to 100% be focused.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Jeff is a fair amount older, so there's a bit of a mentorship kind of wisdom channel that's being sort of passed on here, or dynamic between the two. And I think it's a beautiful thing.
I'm gonna try to change your mind on that a little bit, because I don't think you need to be 100%. I think that having a bit of flexibility, even on a prep, is okay.
I spend a lot of time throughout the day hopping on calls with these guys, and I feel like my brain would just be like, oh, I don't want to do this right now. That's something where I feel like it would lack in some of those departments.
But I think given your calories, you probably wouldn't have to diet really hard, maybe. And if you did, it would be okay, we're gonna do a push for 2 or 3 weeks. In which case, you could just let your people know, hey guys, I need to push. I'm gonna be out. We're gonna do text only, or I'm gonna pre-record the calls or whatever it is.
Once you pull yourself out of trying to defend yourself, trying to prove yourself, trying to talk yourself up to other people, it never works. And then you just go, okay, whatever, what's actually interesting? Oh, look at what this person's doing. Look at what you're doing. Let me try to build you up while I'm continuing to try to build myself up and do things in life that are interesting, that challenge us and that improve us and make our time on the planet engaging, fulfilling, and worthwhile. And nowadays, it's such a rare freaking thing to have conversations like this or to meet people like that who are less interested in talking about their personal achievements and more interested in talking about ideas and in talking about the other people around them and how they can improve themselves. And when you meet people like that, it is so massively beneficial. And clearly Jeff is one of those individuals. And that's a great way to be. And I know I've made a lot of content pushing back on some of his training philosophies and ideas, which I maintain. But I will also say that he's got a ton of positive attributes and things going for him, and this is definitely one of them.
Yep. Oh man, okay. You got it. Come on. Yep. There you go. Easy. Come on. I got more. Okay. Come on. You got one more. One more. Loose.
Okay, these bench sets are actually legit. A couple sets of bench that were actually focused and legit. And I'm looking at Jeff's build here, and his triceps are definitely impressive. And I know he used to powerlift and shit, so maybe it's just a biceps training is seen as fluff and not the same mentality is applied to it. But then when he goes to do bigger lifts like bench and shit, he locks in more, which is very possible. But I would encourage against that. Because again, who puts your hand up if you don't want big biceps? Nobody who's into training. So why not apply the same method and approach? And that's what your biceps are going to lag behind. Oh, they're a smaller muscle. I don't need to train. Fucking bullshit, man. If you don't take your set to the point where you need at least a minute or two to recover and catch your breath, and you're dripping in sweat and you're starting to feel dizzy and your bicep is freaking burning and you can barely feel it, that's what you want, man. That's a sign that you're training. You can't possibly imagine even holding a conversation with somebody because you're putting all your energy, effort, and focus into the set. That's how you should train them, dude, if you want them to grow.
Because my lagging point is my arms.
Yeah.
I hate training arms, though. When you said arms, I hate training arms.
Interesting.
Alex's physique is incredible. I mean, both of these dudes have tremendously built physiques. Jeff is just a brick shit house, just a freaking stack of meat patties. You could not knock him over. He's a brick. Dense, dude. Very developed. And for all the pushback I give on some of his training approaches, he's fucking yoked, So to each his own, man. To each his own. But Alex, I think, like, to me, the one aspect he's missing, he says himself, is his arm development, his pecs, his shoulders, his shoulder to waist ratio, like God level aesthetics. But the one thing that's missing is some absolute sick, wicked, nasty pipe daddies, some freaking bulging pythons bursting out the side of your freaking sleeves, the side of your shirt, ripping through that compression, can't even be contained. If we trained together, I almost guarantee we could add an inch in a month. There's so much being left on the table in this approach here. And especially now that you're a little bit saucy, I think that's going to help even more and should provide even more motivation to want to get all the benefit out of that extra testosterone that you're putting in your body, to actually train to your limit, to the extreme. If you're looking to take your gains to the next level in 2025, I'm taking on new clients. If you want to work with me one-on-one through a fancy training app, we do video calls. We chat every week. I make adjustments to your training. I kick your ass. I yell at you if you don't train intensely enough. Just kidding. I'm a nice guy, but I'm going to work with you to get you to the point where you have the mentality and the approach and the process to truly stimulate and develop your physique to its actual potential. If you're interested in that, one-on-one direct coaching with a handful of individuals is now available. You fill out the application. People who are serious only. You got to be ready to give it your all. I'm not going to give you some gimmick, get fit, quick fix, sit on a chair and do 2 minutes of exercises and get freaking jacked. This is bullshit. It's not how it works. You have to give everything you got. But I can be your coach to help you get there. So if you're interested, check that out. As always, thanks for watching, motherfuckers. Have a great freaking day. Peace.